What's up YouTube, Godverman T21 here, and welcome back to Cody Pierce 2 online replay number 27, I believe. Anyway, I'm pretty excited. I recall that one of you was asking for a 2 versus 2, and I haven't done one of those in a while. I've been seeing a decent amount of 4v4s. So here it is. I'm playing as the Allies once again. The United States of America, my country. Got our rear echelon troops moving up. So I was basically talking to my ally. It was, you know, the Russians and the US work actually quite well together. Actually, every nation's represented in this, including the Wehrmacht and the Oberkommando West. You know, one is each side, so if they can work together, you know, it'll be quite well. So this map, basically, there's a fuel up here. This is really the Axis fuel, and this is really the Allied fuel of its positioning. But my goal is pretty much to try to cut them off from their fuel. I've used multiple machine guns before as the Soviets cut out the fuel here from both sides. Just to deny them that fuel is just so critical early on, because it makes it so, one, it helps me get a lieutenant out faster, and it delays their setting up of their trucks, delays Stuka-Sufuses, any kind of flat cap tracks. So let's see, I'm moving up, and I'm just making a ton of riflemen. I know I got a little bit on the last American player who spam riflemen, but I mean, this is your basic it's your basic unit, right? Anyway, this guy is Storm Pioneers. You're going to see an engagement coming pretty soon with those guys on my rear echelon troops. He has this truck over here. My ally is going to push Mr. 9KM. I wonder what the 9KM means. Mr. 9KM is going to take on this side. And you can see I'm already under fire. These guys are in cover, and they will, you know, they'll kill some of my men just like outright. I'm not going to win when they're in that kind of cover. So I'm going to wait for all my forces to, you know, regroup and kind of get them behind cover and start flanking and try to force these guys back. Because if you focus fire on these guys, I mean, they're decent units, but they're pretty weak when they're outnumbered. You can see all our M1 Grands are shooting basically at these guys. And look, this is very critical. Viper is now shifting some forces over to this side. In fact, they've completely, you know, they're pushing in the center a little bit, but they've completely abandoned the left side of our fuel. So they're not giving us any fight for that, which is a mistake. Anyway, all my men get suppressed by this one machine gun. And even like my men get behind this thing, and luckily we're in cover, even heavy cover, so it's not like we're getting pinned or anything. I have another squad that's coming, so I can hopefully outflank this. There's some engineers coming down, so now they're shifting all their forces over to my side. And I start to tell my ally, hey, I'm getting outflanked here, you know, I need some help. So he's going to come help me out, which is really critical to, you know, listen to your allies. If they need some help, they need some help, otherwise you're going to get double teamed and slaughtered. So these guys, I haven't retreated any of my men because they're not pinned yet, and I think I can salvage the situation. I really need these guys to hold the machine gun in place. But the pathfinding, like, my men wouldn't go around for some reason. They kept wanting to go this way in front of the machine gun. So at this point, I have to kill this machine gun, right? But I have to aim for these guys who are going to kill my men at close range if I don't wipe them out. So the Storm Pioneers are dead here pretty much. I have no health on my troops though, so I gotta pull back so I got wiped out there. I don't get to get the MG, which is very unfortunate. My men are getting wiped out. I gotta fall back basically. And even these guys are still suppressed, like around the corner. Even though I'm taking some HP damage, I'm gonna try to retreat back. Yeah, my Soviet ally is, you know, sending conscripts over. He's trying to taking the center. They do have a lot of machine guns. And I'm like, guys, come on, can we not be suppressed anymore? I don't know, it seems a little bit like a ridiculous amount of suppression. Anyway, I chose the veteran, it's the Rifleman Commander, I believe. Yeah, the Rifleman Company. Call him Rifleman Commander, same basic thing. I get the Easy 8s, the White Phosphorus, the Rifleman Flares, and the veteran Riflemen are very critical. And you can see my ally is going to set up a Maxim right here. He's going to start assisting me, you know, all these bulk spams. Okay, 3 men. I had 3 armament squads. It's not called a spam just yet. Against all these lightly armored bulk troops, the machine gun should do quite well. You can see his conscript is flanking. And my men, unfortunately, this guy got killed out here. But my men were able to get behind some cover. I'm going to push up and kind of try to scout where their MG is. Around this point, I'm realizing I'm going to need some grenades. So wow, that was perfect. I'm going to get my men the grenade package to be used. Was very effective against me, which is that smoke grenade against the machine guns. And you know, with the mortar and the machine gun, this combination of support weapons are doing great damage to my infantry so far. Now I want to try to protect my ally here, and I do have a lieutenant that should be coming up to the front lines. As you can see, you know, my allies been, you know, still kind of pushing into their base a little bit. which I think is a little bit of a waste of resources, but it's kind of good he's putting some pressure on them. And he's mining the bridge. He should really try to cut towards the center. Anyway, most of the action on this map, I was getting ready to pick up that machine gun if he lost it. You can see our health. Like, I have so many riflemen, they don't have a ton of health, so they need an ambulance at some point here also. The problem is this just delays. I pulled these rear echelon troops back. It delays me getting more tanks. Delays me by getting tanks by doing the grenades, 25 fuel, and also by getting the ambulance, which is 35 additional fuel. I'm just gonna push up with my lieutenant. You know, it's just basically a battle of cover. You know, we're not, you know, these players aren't new in this match. You know, we're using cover. And look, they diverted all their forces back here to deal with these conscripts. You know, I'm getting suppressed and mortared, and it's really frustrating. So I'm gonna have to. Thankfully, I have the smoke, so I'm gonna launch some smoke on this, and hopefully not lose my lieutenant in the process. That'd be horrible. See, my lieutenant's way too low on health. I don't want to see him get killed. I'm basically going to advance under my cover of smoke. My men are no longer suppressed. I'm going to toss a grenade right in the machine gun crew. So I want to make sure, like, it's a valid strategy to use the smoke. And I kind of see, I was complaining about it in episode 25, but you know, now I see how important, especially to fight the machine guns. But I got frustrated. I lost the squad. That was a mistake. And look. Wow, there's the flak half-track, instantly suppressing the conscripts. They are pinned. He needs to get out of there or he's going to die. So I'm going to retrain my troops. I'm going to let my ally know. I'm like, hey, do you see that? So he sees he's going to actually start making a field gun quite soon. Hop on him. He's going to get enough manpower and then start making that. And I'm flanking around. I actually managed to throw a grenade right on these guys who are kind of grouped up, and I did manage to wipe out the mortar crew. It's not saying, you know, just wiping out crews. And you can see he's down to one man on his machine gun crew. Like, he's getting pretty lucky with those units, you know, one man on each of them. He's going to actually probably buy a half-track to help reinforce his men at the front line. Meanwhile, a lot of men kind of guarding the center here. Or a decent amount, you know, support weapon, 2 support weapons in a grenadier squad. Anyway, his thing's getting ready to set up, and I'm thinking like, okay, we really need this AT, which is coming, so that's good. I don't want to advance any further, especially with this thing. You can see it's going to start tearing up the cover they're behind. Because these logs, you know, they can get destroyed pretty easily. So the Max is actually doing some damage. Keep in mind, it is a half-track. And, you know, then I go flanking with my lieutenant. Throwing some smoke on that machine gun. I really want to wipe him out. He's vet 2 now. I would not like this guy to reinforce if I can help it. And I'm trying to toss a grenade, but I see that he's retreating, and it's probably not worth my munitions, so I cancel that, and I gotta fall back. You know, this half-track's gonna kill me. I was thinking about tossing a grenade on that mortar crew, but you know, I can't lose this lieutenant. He's 50 fuel for him, and he's really good with the bars. But yeah, you can see his position's just been destroyed basically by the mortar and the flak half-track. And here comes a good old half-track to reinforce his soldiers. So you think about it, they're winning right now on victory points. They hold the center and the right side. They're pushing us further and further back, but now that we have some more forces on this side, and the AT, this is going to be critical. Look, its rear armor is facing. Let's just put on the fog of war for a second. I'm going to scout it. So anyway, I'm going to scout that flak half-track with my infantry there, so my allies AT and can wipe it out with, I mean, it's just a flak half-track. What that did was it put him back by a lot of fuel. Anyway, you can see my 50 cows getting set up. We do an MG42 vet 2. The mortars are coming down. They're pretty heavily entrenched on this side. I really had my ally decide to shift over and help me out. But I have to fall back with my infantry there. My 50 cows is still going to provide some support against this blob of 3 folks units. I'm encountering some blobs online, but not as many as that one day I recorded and showed you episode 26 and 25. Anyway, you can see even have a mortar half-track. I use that quite effectively. I know Juicebox likes that a lot. I actually almost got caught on fire there. The mortar half-track's great because it has the flame projectile, but actually it's going to get wiped out. Destroy an engine. And you can still see him with his conscripts there. Just put on the fog of war. So we get rid of that, you know, that half-track just keeps reinforcing those bolts. So if we can get rid of that half-track, That'd be good. You can see I'm gonna move up my 50 cal. Wow, that thing just got wiped out. Well, with my 50 cal, my lieutenant started wiping out these units. I just wiped out these folks. Just put pressure on them. And in the middle here, you can see I sent my my poor rear echelon troops to die. I didn't realize I did anything in the center. I wasn't even watching. I was focusing on the right side. But I temporarily took that away from them. And you can see this AT gun is quite useful. I mean, it's taking out their light vehicles and he has to back up. But I managed to destroy both their light vehicles. So the Wehrmacht players hurting for fuel right now. And my Soviet ally was using the prioritized vehicles. It's a new thing that's been relatively recent in this patch. On one of these recent patches. So you can see we hold both fuels are now on the map, and we're probably going to push up and take that fuel. You can see how awesome my 50 cal guys look. I have 2 of them right there. So you can see his bases here, and the mortar half track has been pulled back. And we are securing the fuel on this side. So we have both munitions, which is good for the Americans. You don't want to give the Americans a ton of munitions, especially with this white phosphorus I have with the Rifleman Company Commander. And it gives us plenty of mines. Yeah, you can see there's not really defending that side. I'm going to launch some white phosphorus in the center here, though. Try to save my allies' machine gun. Just push them back, basically. It is a Vet 1 machine gun. Unfortunately, it almost kills my ally there. But it will start burning the forest. I'm going to be using that white phosphorus quite effectively. Well, I'm going to be using it a lot. See, those mortars are taking their toll. But you can see these awesome conscripts have their PPSHs and some Mosin Nagants. They have basically 3 and 3. And he's using that to convert to fuel. I mean, it's not like... He actually probably should have captured that fuel back here. There's even an MG42 I'm going to pick up, possibly. I do have an ambulance up here, though, that's going to heal my men up and some of his conscripts and help me reinforce my machine guns. It's not like he put his trucks up too aggressively or too far. It's that we've been able to push. We've dominated this map. I mean, he's even like trying to, you know, some Vet 2 pioneers trying to take over this side. After we pushed them back completely on my side, I told my allies to probably reposition some troops onto his side, thinking they might change targets. And I just wanted to push those guys back. Unfortunately, I'm going to catch some of the AT crew there with this white phosphorus. I mean, it takes away units' health. I'm hoping the next one to go right on that medic base and just make it so when he retreats, just retreat into it. That'd be very deadly. So yeah, you can see he's healing up, and he's actually going to launch an incinerator barrage right here. It's going to pretty much wipe out this Vet 2 crew. I was pointing to my ally going, you're right on the flames, and he's just burning up too quickly. Maybe moving my ambulance in a position to try to rescue, try to have him reinforce his men there, but very unfortunate the Vet 2 crew got completely wiped out. Those incinerator barrages are very deadly. And he's going to actually follow us up with an attack by some Volks. But I have 2 machine guns here, and I have men on the road. Vet 2. Caesars aren't going to do a whole lot of damage, especially because they're going to be suppressed. So I lost that squad instantly, basically, because the mortar wiped out 4 of my men that were clumped up against the rock for some reason, and then I got shot by, the other guy got shot by those men. So I'm not too happy with these guys, you know, doing the mortar barrage and everything and hitting my men. So I'm actually going to get a Jackson to take out that mortar half-track. But as I move up to try to push in, of course we have a machine gun there. I'm actually going to use the smoke. I kind of ranted a little bit in episode 25 about the smoke, or was it 26? But I can see why it's useful now against a machine gun, but it's just the mass. Look at this double machine gun's pinning all those guys down. And white phosphorus is going down too on him. And the AT was remanned. And then I see Stuka and I'm going to start retreating and moving around my troops here. I managed to wipe out 1 machine gun with that. Wasn't the most effective thing. And look at his health of his men. I'm using this as a forward retreat point, so I can get my men back to reinforce using the ambulance. I'm going to pull my ambulance back, but you can see that was like right on the money. His men really have no health whatsoever. So you can see this Overcommander West players basically used... Those medics are alive, surprisingly. He's used his money up on a flak, or not his money, he's used his fuel up on a half-track, flak half-track. That's laden by a Panther, and he got a Stuka now. And his other ally, I believe, is saving up for a tiger. In order for him to get a tiger or a panther or anything, he needs to have all these even a king tiger if he's going for that, he needs to have all his bases built and not destroyed. So we're going to start targeting these. I'm going to bring up the Jackson. Very powerful but slow firing, low armor. And we're definitely going to take out all these buildings basically. I don't want to be too cocky, you know, I saw Stugus, but you know, they're going to be a Panzer IV or one or two of them pop out from the Wehrmacht player. Anyway, that's dead, which is good, and we're probably going to push in a little bit. Infantry not too far behind him. And we're going right after this. I'm going to call artillery to push back any forces that are around it. Maybe some of those folks might have Panzerschrecks. And that actually lands right on the machine gun, and it's going to wipe it out, I think. No, he's actually going to retreat through the flame and somehow manages to make it, I think. They're just going to let me keep taking shots at this. I'm perfectly fine with that. See, my eyes going to screen with some infantry. I noticed that when you point out that I like to advance sometimes with my tanks without sufficient. And the Stugus came, and I swore it would go right along here. But that was largely ineffective. It killed one conscript and missed. So I'm going to start taking some shots at the Stugus. I want to wipe this thing out. Its rear armor's damaged. I don't want to lose my Jackson to it. But now its main gun is destroyed, so I'm going to push up. And he's forced to pull back. He's got to sometimes take a chance. You know, I could build another one of these Jacksons if I need. I don't think he has enough fuel to do that, to build another one of those. But I got to fall back or I'm going to lose my tank here. So it was a risk. I only could have lost my Jackson, but it was worth it to destroy the Stugus. And now he's making a lot of these Panzerwerfers. Or whatever the AT is called. Rocket Werfer. Sorry, not Panzerwerfer. Basically, the Overcannon West is AT. And if we look, you know, he doesn't have a lot of fuel, and he has to build more trucks because he has, you know, one truck. He has no trucks, actually. We destroyed all of them. So they have a little bit of a, you know, we're pushing them hard on the flanks, and they have a little bit of leeway in the center because we haven't put any pressure on that. I had to retreat my lieutenant. I was screaming. I was like, how come you're retreating through all those guys? And he managed to make it. That lieutenant managed to get out of there, which is great. Forced to fall back. But keep in mind, I do have my forward position set up, and I'm moving it up even closer to the front lines. But yeah, that was a devastating attack for these guys. And I even have a Sherman now coming into the action. I usually like to get a Jackson to deal with some armor, and then I like to have the Sherman deal with the infantry, especially with the HE, high explosive shells. Very deadly against these kind of units. Especially units that are blobbed up. 2 Shermans with those machine guns. Anyway, I have machine guns. And some infantry support. I'm going to hop in my tank here. It's not going to do anything, but I just want to get it out of there to a safe distance. And I'm going to use that prioritized vehicle, so I won't shoot an infantry. And I just unlocked the bars for my infantry and make them more deadly. I've lost quite a lot of my infantry, though, so far in this match. I'm barely going to go positive in the final results on this match. And he does have his pack. Very little health on it. Now my ally's trying to take the center again. I'm just going to try to push forward. That machine gun's back. I'm going to pull back with these infantry before I lose them. Just calling that white phosphorus on the exposed positions here. And that should wipe out the remaining units here. Look how little health these guys have. I think his machine gun might get wiped out this time by the white phosphorus. But it just sucks away the health of these units, which makes them very vulnerable to any kind of infantry. You know, you're really about to fall over, you know, if you get shot once with a pistol. Or shot at with a pistol, more like it. So I'm regrouping, you know, I've retreated some men back to base. I'm going to try to get some of them with some Brownings, automatic weapons. Browning automatic rifles, not weapons. And my ally is an SU, as you saw back over there. So this guy's totally saving up for a Tiger. You know, not the wisest thing to do necessarily. He's giving us weight, you know, having both fuels. That's making him slower to get a Tiger. These guys are back getting some bars here. But we have both fuels, so it's going to delay him, and it's going to give us more and more armor. We'll just outnumber his Tiger. Anyway, I'm gonna get my lieutenant out of the riverbed. I feel like we're like crossing the Rhine here a little bit. Going back and forth. Well, I'm gonna let my Sherman fire. It's at a great enough distance that the Panzer strike shouldn't be able to hit it accurately. You know, I do take a couple shots. It's against the frontal armor, and I am reinforcing, and I have a lot of men shooting at these guys. So it was totally worth it. And then my ally has that. Wow, look at this. I can also get an easy 8 right now. I'm going to shift my men just slightly over. I even brought some rear echelon troops up to help. I just brought my men out of the flames so I can reinforce and heal them. But we're under constant mortar fire, so I'm worried about having another squad basically wiped out by that mortar. Half track there. You can see the center has a mortar machine gun AT, you know, just basic anti-infantry, artillery support, and anti-tank there. But my ally's going to start pushing on this side, and he's going to start trying to take out the machine gun nest so he can take out the guys' buildings, the Wehrmacht's buildings. But he is also he upgraded to Vet 2, or Battle Phase 2 there. And what that did was basically you can build Panthers, or he's going to build Panzer IVs, Ostwinds, and Stugs, but he's built none of that, so it's just a waste of fuel. He knew he was going to go for the Tiger the whole time. And I got a nice little armored force on that side, pretty diversified. You know, we have a Sherman, we have one of each vehicle basically, a Sherman, a EZ8. I know an EZ8 is a Sherman, basically it's a Sherman E8. And also I have a Jackson, so pretty good force. I'm getting ready to overrun these guys. I'm just reinforcing, making sure all my men are good, and the tanks have necessary upgrades on them for their machine guns. And my ally managed to even put a satchel charge over there. And there goes Mr. Tiger. He can actually get around, you know, if the conscripts don't have ATers, he can actually get around both SUs and destroy them. I'm just gonna push in. Go right past all the ATs. This is bad. Look, there's a machine gun on my flank, and I'm not going to see that. Focus way too much on getting my tanks around the ATs. But I am going to wipe out all these AT things. I'm going to lose my Vet 2 machine gun, unfortunately. Did a good job. But he built another fuel cache there. I mean, we've overrun most of their fuel caches. So this is my Vet 2 machine gun, unfortunately. I did manage to overwhelm the position, and I caught their fuel cache on fire and destroyed it. And I'm going to call White Foster's. I'm hoping to lure them into, but he's smart enough to just retreat there. But it just kind of cuts them off for my tanks. They wanted to try to do something. Actually getting behind our lines too. I have men moving up, my veteran riflemen moving up with bars. I'm setting up a more forward position. I have some rear echelon troops that need to reinforce, and I'll help them repair tanks. Just get my tanks back in action faster. So they did cut off our fuel. If we built fuel caches, we'd have a ridiculous amount of fuel. We basically had everything we needed. We have both munitions and both fuel. He's trying to kind of do a little bit of harassment here. A little too late for that. I mean, he has shock troops pursuing too, so you can see we're mass repairing our troops here, or we're repairing our tanks here with a lot of rear echelons and tank crews. They look pretty cool there with their welding masks on. And this guy's starting to man some of his ATs again. You know, all I need is a White Fosters. They are kind of grouped up. And I'm telling you, this mortar half track, I want to get rid of it. He's killed quite a lot of our men. He's had 2 of them, so he's really delayed his own Tiger. And I'm kind of wondering where his Tiger is at this point. I'm pretty sure my ally hasn't gone in. I knew he's... If you see no armor for like 26 minutes in a game, or 20 plus minutes, you know they have to have something. They have to be saving up for a Tiger, an elephant. And I'm going to call... my ally is actually going to call a Sturmovik raid on these guys. Sturmovik strike. And that should basically kill those units. I'm just moving up, you know, I'm like, alright, attack, and then I see, oh, that's a tank. That's a Tiger. You can see I'm actually getting behind the lines here. I'm using high explosives. I need to switch to armor piercing. But the Axos is actually going to work out. I'm just going to take out some of the lighter vehicles here. Almost like a drive-by here. Just constantly keep moving. The Tiger's kind of slow. I'm going to try to get rid of that mortar half-track if I can. Which I do. Vet 2, it's gone. My allies moving out with SUs. I'm going to circle around. Anyway, I'm going to push into this AT. With the highest was I'm able to actually take out most of the crew here. Second shot should do it. It's going to try to turn. That's too late. Axos has done its job, and I'm going to kind of go back. I do manage to pick up an AT. I'm just bringing it over to try to corner the Tiger. But you know, they have a very good, I think it was a retreating guy they killed. They have a pretty good anti-tank force here. They can actually take out my Sherman, unfortunately, even though I throw some smoke down. Not before he takes out a lot of men, though. So we need to turn and take out this Tiger here. With all these guys, AT, I would not, this is a poor assault by me. I ran into all these men with AT, you know, the Panzer Shreks. But when the SUs turned on this tank, we just outnumbered them 4 to 1. They're throwing grenades. I'm going to lose my EZ-8. Not a problem. I have another one already on the way, moving up to the front, which is right here. So we can afford the losses. We can afford this attrition war. And my Sherman has taken out basically everyone, even though it's out of control. Took out the whole center so we can capture that again. And it looks like my AT automatically targeted. Like I didn't make it automatically target the abandoned Tiger. I would have loved to pick that up myself, but I mean, it's a mirror assault, so we can possibly take that over. So they're in a lot of trouble right now. They just have a bunch of infantry left. You know, the Wehrmacht player's been decimated. His gamble waiting for a Tiger is not paid off. And we have a lot of tanks. We can kill them with the victory points right now. Not bad though. I'm having fun playing Gun of Heroes 2 a little bit more. Having those blobs come at me when I lost like 5 in a row. Similar to episode 26 that you guys saw. Those are just frustrating. I do think though that the Volksgrenadier blob, if used correctly with the grenades and all that, like what he's doing now, if he uses that correctly, I mean those can be devastating. Especially because they have grenades. I didn't realize, but you actually need a truck to be built before you can use the grenades. I don't really use grenades on Volksgrens. I usually get Oberkommandos. The Obersoldaten from the Oberkommando West. And either that or Propulsion Makers. I get some kind of infantry or the Jaeger, Light Infantry Recon, whatever they're called. So you can see he's using all his fuel to set up another truck again. At this point, I don't understand the logic of setting up 3 trucks. I mean, he shot down the Sturmovik, right? This is like the mince pocket right here. Like, there's like a machine gun or something there. And you can see they're just trying to harass the infantry there. But I want to close that pocket. We basically push them all the way back to their base. But I don't understand the logic of saying of building the 3 trucks again, because if he wants to get a... I mean, at minimum, he has to build the medic truck, or the Stigosuflis truck, the mechanized regiment headquarters, to get that Panzer headquarters. So he wants to get... He wants to get that, but he lost all his tanks, basically. And I'm gonna see, you know, I got the munitions. I'm getting a decent amount of munitions per minute. I'll throw this white phosphorus down all day on them. You know, I can sustain these losses. I do have moved out my Ford reinforcement base here, and I even stole one of their support guns, which is kind of funny. So I stole one of their light infantry support guns, which has done really nothing for me so far. I've had matches where they've been devastating, but that was a lot earlier when the US and the Oberkommando West came out. I actually ran that in the patch. I thought it was so cheap because it was just self-firing, like it would automatically just shoot. It was actually pretty accurate, but now it's not so accurate. Anyway, smoke's going down there. I push them again. They have some oversight on. I have my machine guns though. And I have decent amount of troops, and I have my tank support. So yeah, I meant to recharge. I can call some of that white flash. So we're trying to call it behind them, so they'll have to retreat into it, which is going to be kind of smart. It's a little too late though when I called it, because they can just retreat. They're getting ready to retreat from their assault already. I mean, it's still just keeps pushing them back. They can keep trying to fight for that point. I'm perfectly fine. I can reinforce my men. I even have a 3rd machine gun there. I picked up an MG42, I believe. And yeah, Just devastating. I don't know exactly the properties of white phosphorus or how often it was used in World War II. If someone knows that, feel free to put it in the comments down below, but it's quite effective on this game. Yeah, they're making like a single player for the United States coming out, I think in October or November. And that should be kind of interesting to see, like, another campaign. I think Company of Heroes 2 is more multiplayer focused. People did not like the campaign for the original game. Theater of Wars are pretty fun. I played most of those. I think they should do more Theater of War rather than their single player campaign. I mean, I'm a guy that, you know, I usually like the single player. I usually like to play that. Like, I played, you know, all my Total War is basically single player. I don't do multiplayer on that. I don't find it. I haven't really gone into it or been playing it. So I like the single player on that, but Company of Heroes 2, I'm all about the multiplayer. I love fighting against other people. I don't do bots. I always go against other people. Some games I'm like that. Some games I'm just like, I just like to do single player. But I mean, those campaign missions were really long, and a lot of people were upset about the history that was involved in that. So I'm not so sure how this second, you know, release of a campaign for the U.S. is going to be. And I'm still wondering how we got that flare up. Oh, you know, it might have been our. Yep, it was a flare on his doctrine there. That's how we got it. You know, he may have built that Panzer thing just for the Ober troops. He's actually flanking me, which is quite smart. So I have to just turn all my machine guns right now. But good for him to try to flank around that side. And even, you know, even have another mortar half-track. Jeez, how many mortar half-tracks does this guy have? 3 in this match? On all my men. I just realized we're so close to winning this, I just gotta hold. Gotta hold and reinforce. But artillery, you know, the machine guns are gonna slow them down. My men are really grouped up here. I'm worried a mortar's going to come and just wipe us out. I have the white phosphorus behind his troops here, so if he tries to retreat, it will kill his men. He's got to retreat past all my troops. So we responded very, you know, with artillery. I even have my Jackson moving up. I would like to take out that half-track. I think it actually got away. Actually, I think that wreckage there is actually the mortar half-track. Yeah, so I did take out the mortar half-track. I'm really interested right here. I'm kind of bunched up. My ally says good game. Good game to these guys. They fought pretty hard. The strategy did not pay off waiting for the Tiger, though, for the Wehrmacht player. And that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Codperman221 signing off. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below what you thought of this match. Anything you want to see. I still haven't gotten any footage of the King Tiger, so that might be something I might try for. And yeah, leave a like. Hope you enjoyed. Codperman221 signing off.